Hello and welcome. If you are preparing for your final architectural design jury, this video is for you. I'm going to give some advice and breakdown based on the preliminary jury we had yesterday on how to prepare for your final design jury. The first thing I want to focus on is the research aspect. Most of our researchers sometimes miss this important aspect of researching on building typologies or form typologies of the kind of building we're designing. Most of us are working on different building types, ranging from hospital to churches to convention center to hotels and shopping malls. You see, each of those building types have their own specific typology. Take for example, I just typed hospital typology design on my system. This is one of the images that popped out. If you look at this image, it has different typologies and indication of the nursing station and the corridor line. And this is very important because if you solve these problems, you've solved the design of hospitals. If you solve the positioning of, let's say, nursing stations and your circulation routes like your corridor lines, you've literally designed hospitals. So when you study building typologies, it enables you to understand the arrangement of the forms, different forms of that building. Doesn't mean that you must follow it, but it's important to get a hang of it to now modify it to use in your design. Now, some of the people designing, let's say, hospitals or shopping mall, when they show their typologies, it's very basic. The person doing shopping mall might just show 2 anchor shops at the end or 3, and no more detailed explanation of, let's say, the circulation route and then the positioning of some attractive components that will make up the shopping mall. Because understanding in-depthly the building typologies will enable you to analyze the most important aspects of the building space and then the circulation routes. These two things are very important in analyzing it. So you don't just show the form, outer form, and say, oh, this is the typology. No, you should go a step further to show positioning of key spaces. Like in the hospitals, the nursing stations should be part of your typologies because they run the hospital basically. And also circulation route, maybe horizontal and vertical also can also form your typology. So this is very important. Number 2, you must also research on the most important client need in each of your building type. So if you are working on a hospital, you must research on nurses station design and possibly theater design, most important client needs within that space. If you are working on convention centers or churches, you must research a lot on both acoustic and sight lines. And in that research, you must begin to insinuate which one might work better for you or which one you might be aligned towards using. So you don't just skip this research on the most important client need in your building type. It's very important. And more you look in-depthly into circulation routes and other aspects or amenities that might improve comfort and retain people there to shop more. So understanding the most important client need must be a part of your research. You must always analyze case studies based on this understanding of the research you've done. So you look at a case study, you say, this is the building typology employed in this case study based on my research, and these are the positioning of the major client needs in these case studies. So if you always analyze a case study based on an established knowledge, people will follow you through your case study. You cannot just analyze your case study and say, I like this case study because there is lighting in the case study, or there is ventilation, or there is not enough car park in the case study. You've not learned anything related to your design that can be very insightful from that case study. So analysis of case study must always be of the typology, of the analysis of the critical client spaces or user spaces. The next item I want to focus on is concept development. Concept development carries mark in your presentation. So if you skip it, you will lose the mark for it. And concept development simply wants to tell us how you arrived at your solution. And you only arrive at your solution from doing very good analysis of the problems that you have noticed in the design. Let me show you an example of how to develop a concept that is very difficult to argue with, because concept should focus on both form, zoning, and circulation. And so from your building typology, you pick one that will enable you to zone and get good circulation. And from that building typology that you've picked one to enable you to zone and circulate, then you can now extrapolate a form that enables you to solve the key problems with regards to that design. So if your zoning and circulation fails within a design, no matter what the concept looks like in elevation, you are not going to score any good marks. But you need to solve the most important aspect first, and then you now move it up to the form. So when we talk about concept development, it isn't always about form. It should arise from the need to zone and arrange circulation in an orderly manner, and then finally form. And for you to zone and arrange circulation, you need to understand what are the established guidelines already for such building types, and you now need to implement them. You are not necessarily inventing anything new. If you adjust them, fine, but the adjustment must not just come from thin air. Somebody should see what led to the adjustment based on your previous research. The next is in site analysis. Site analysis and site plan. I don't have much to say here, but maintain your north arrow to be pointing upwards, to be pointing north in all the sheets. So if you start your site analysis and the north is this way, and in the next sheet the north is this way, and in your site plan the north is this way, it's going to confuse your jurors. So what you want to do is to maintain your north upwards throughout your presentation. However the plan tilts, no problem. The only guide I will give here is that once you start your site analysis with the north facing up, you can maintain it throughout the design. So once you do that, it means that sometimes your floor plan might be tilted, no problem. All you need to do is ensure that on the ground floor of your floor plan, the ground floor will always carry aspects of the site that will enable somebody to read your floor plan as an enlarged part of your site plan. And that understanding is very crucial. So you don't just draw your ground floor plan without indicating all the aspects of the site that is within the floor plan. So what this means is that the sheet that has your ground floor plan must be filled up almost up to the borders, because they are going to be showing some vegetation or some interlocking spaces or roads that are close to the building. So you don't just leave your building hanging in thin air and allowing making your jurors run left and right to look at it. Next is on annotation. Let's avoid using legends to annotate spaces that are not much. So if you are doing a site plan that has just 3 buildings, there is no need to start writing A, this, B, this. You can write the exact name of the building on the space, so as to avoid this confusion of jurors trying to understand and read your work, because there are a lot of people to jury, so they will lose patience with that always. Finally, I want to comment on the roofing. We are in a region where we have rainfall for more than 6 to 7 months of the year. So most of us were carried out with this phrase that all the buildings mustn't be roofed or will have flat roof. This is just at the end of the day making you lazy to design your roofs. So no matter the choice of roofing you decide to go with, I just want to advise that you keep it at a minimum of 10 degrees slope. You can have a roof of 1 degree or 2 degree slope that is running for more than 30 meters, and you expect them not to be problems in the future. So try as much as we can to get creative with our roofing. At a minimum, ensure that it's at least 10 degrees slope, because that's what we learned in building climatology. If you are designing areas with high rainfall, you have to design so that the roof can protect against this kind of climatic challenge. You don't just go and put flat roof anywhere. So even if, I'm not asking you that you must roof all the areas of your building, but let's say 70-75% of the building should be roofed to slope in a proper manner that will allow rain to drain off easily. You can still be creative with other aspects of your roof, but it's important that we consider the climatic constraints within the areas we are designing. Well, I think that's it for now. I don't have any other thing to add. I wish you the best in your presentation. I'll see you in your final jury. Cheers, peace.